The tonight lesson is related to the previous lecture. It's under the topic popular methodology. Popular methodology, the methods of language teaching. Now we will go into some details of the direct method for tonight's session. So when you see the topic, the direct method, what comes to your mind? You already learned the grammar translation method, right? Please tell me something that you can think about the direct method, or what do you think about the direct method? What will include in the direct method? Do you remember the grammar translation method? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right? Grammar translation method. There are lots of features in grammar translation method. It's also familiar with most people in our country. So for the direct method, what do you think? The direct method, the dictation, right? Direct methods also includes the activities or dictation. Yeah, dictation activity. Correct. Also, how about other ideas and things? Yes, dictation.
Hello.
Okay, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go.
If we mention it, good. Thanks for bringing the direct method. For example, as a teaching ingredients, one you mentioned direct method. The first thing that's and to mind that wasn't like the native language. That's direct method.
Yeah.
Because like learn the native language. Yeah. This is the direct method.
Yeah.
For example, like you're using Burmese, you're using Gajin, whatever. This is direct method. And another would be like illustration, article, that would be a little bit hard to be see like rare ability to translate. For example, like Lana, encourage, and then the practice speaking, that will be more the demonstrate practice. But it's a state right because like we are practicing. For example, like we're learning like Mandarin Chinese. Like we are like demonstrate we practice that's with the method, and also like grammar in context. So like in particular, so because in context, like for example, like using grammar, this is like not really simple. It is the spread. It's a vocabulary. It's a complex. As a learner, that understand is key. We need to visualize is had to have skills to use the time method. But however, like is a pro is a progress difficult. There will be like how I find out this is a direct attack. This is like what I wanted to discuss right now. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mentioned like four bullet points, which
Mhm.
is like the most enjoyable in the time method, but there will be like more than so many tax, many bullet points. But for example, the person like the native language, this is
Yeah, the
the
native language.
term that we use in Burmese. This is what and but I just want to add like do you have anything like what I want to say then like for bullet you want to mention anything about I don't know like because I missed a period class actually but
Mhm.
I'm here for now because the internet situation right now I can write this weekend yeah I know that like, you can mention anything like whatever like you come on you feel anything like you want to mention you more information that you
Yeah, thank you. Right? Yeah, it's, yeah, you're right.
thank you and you
What you
will like
mentioned, the
whatever
points
you
that you
can
mentioned
move
are
on
included in the
thank you.
direct method. Mm. Are you the newcomer? Sorry, by the way.
And then you come like guys the constitution like I miss the class so much because anyone like I'm
Okay, thank you.
I'm like included in it.
Mhm. Yeah. Because in the previous session, I think I'm not quite familiar with your voice. That's why I'm asking you, are you a newcomer? Okay, let's go on. Yeah, the points that you mentioned are also included in the direct method. Yeah, thank you very much for your contribution. Right. Now we'll go into detail. So let's start with the development of the direct method, right? Actually, this appear from reaction to the grammar translation method, as you know. Firstly, normally the grammar translation method is the very first method that people use and also the scholars use, the grammar translation method. But later, according to the situational needs, and also the requirements of the learners, the proficiency, scholars can do the direct method. Actually, here it is English is taught through the English, as you mentioned. When you are learning the Myanmar language, normally the teacher will use the Myanmar language. Once you are learning the Mandarin, she will use the Mandarin language like that. So the activities are mainly used in the target language, like the discussion, the composition, and reading in the second language. Instead of translating into the mother tongue from the second language, the teacher use the target language, whatever he says or whatever he discusses, like that, including the students. That's why we don't need to use the translation and the grammar, foreign grammar. So in order to learn the direct method, the teacher use so many learning materials like the objects, pictures, or demonstrations, and also the gesture, right? This is reaction from the grammar translation method. The direct method was developed, and also scholars can do the direct method. This is the development of the direct method. Actually, we're in the teaching learning situation. Both the teacher and student need to use the target language. It is also, there are also other names of the direct method as huh? Hold on. Carry on. Yes. As we mentioned before, the direct method is a reaction, right, from the grammar translation method. Because people want to get their student the direct experience and the direct thinking when they learn the foreign language or the second language. There are also other names of the direct method. Right? It's also called the natural method because the scholar wants the student to learn the target language in a natural way, right? As you learn your mother tongue. Once you learn your mother tongue, you are learning naturally. Right? You don't need to pay much attention. You don't need to learn consciously. You don't need to put much effort once you learn your mother tongue. Like that, once you learn the second language, the scholars also want their students, their learners, to learn naturally. That's why it is also called the natural method. And it is also called the conversational method. Mostly, the teacher and students are uh, discussing and conversing in the target language. Right? Direct method is also called the conversational method and natural method. And also the question answer session, right? That focus on the foreign language. Now, let's see the aims of the direct method. There are some aims of the direct method in order to relate directly between the thought and expression and between experience and language. So I want your ideas between the thought and expressions, between experience and language. So what came to your mind? Because direct method aims to build the direct bond between thought and expressions and experience and language. There are also a little explanation, right? Here, the learner should get experience the new language as they experience their mother tongue. But for the grammar translation method, once you learn the foreign concept, you need to translate it into your native language. After that, you will understand the new concept and the new idea. But for the direct method, the teacher wants their student to experience directly, to think directly. That's why in the direct method, the intervention of mother tongue, right? Intervention of mother tongue is they practice like the students are using the mother tongue or the direct method. By understanding the learner, what he hears and reads in the foreign or second language, right? Without thinking, without mediation of the mother tongue. And the other aim is when the student writes the foreign language, he does not need to effort translating his thought from mother tongue to the second language or from the second language to the mother tongue. That's why the scholar champion calls this like the instantaneous or unerring language sense, right? Instantaneous, For example, for the mother tongue, you firstly you learn from the people around you. Like that, once you learn the foreign language, the teachers want you to learn instinctively, right? And in language sense. For example, the teacher will produce a sentence. Student can produce exactly such a sentence. That's why instinctive. You need to talk instantly. You need to use exactly and accurately as you are taught by the teacher. That's why it replaces the old rules, grammar, and dictionaries between by having the direct association between experience and expression. In this way, that's why the thought and expression, the knowledge and experience, there is a direct bond once you learn the foreign language by using the direct method. So these are some aims of the direct method. This kind of situation, I think you are already familiar with this kind of situation. Can you share some of your ideas, everyone? Even though you may not be aware that you are using the direct method. Yes?
Sorry, like I'm raising my hands.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, thank you. Before is, I'm saying something like I got a question already, like, because my question will be like, that's all a question, like, any of my client can discuss this question because, like, how does the nature methods accommodate different learning style? And then what will be like, what are the advantages, potential challenge? Because like, as myself, my parents from Burma, right? But I was not born in Burma. I speak another language.
Yeah.
I face so many challenges because to learn Burmese. Because actually I'm not Burmese, but
Yes.
but I know like this is like kind of tricky, but I just want to know from you the like what types of activities, materials typically used in classroom, whatever like nature, method, language, in the actual school, university. And then next question will be like, how would you accommodate different learning style, especially like preferences and then advantages, potential challenge? Because like my question will be like, it's your war, it's your naga, aka, whatever, like this Portuguese speech if they willing to study university, high school in Burma, but this Portuguese in Burma is not I'm sure like. But when you mention a lot of the nature methods, mother tongue, it will be quite like as a Burma because like in Myanmar, in Burma, whatever like you call it, the Burmese with the official language as a college, as another like whatever like NUG or what you know. We don't really have like the exact constitution like because we're still in the revolution. But my question like how would you like put the challenge, how will you implement the nature method in the language education? That will be my like my first question. My second will be how will you accommodate? And then my third question like what types of activity material you use in the actual class or actual high school, university. So that will be my question because I really want to know this kind of question from you.
Yeah, as you mentioned, because now I'm just mentioning the different methods of teaching. Firstly, the grammar translation method. When the grammar translation method does not fit with the requirements of the, how can I say, the developments, like that, the scholar turn into the direct method. There are also many weaknesses, but The weaknesses and the advantages and disadvantages are in the next in the following slides. There are lots of advantages and disadvantages. Thank you for your question. There are many challenges, right, in order to use the direct method essay in a natural world, because for the person who does not have the language sense or the another language, he will be very passive, and also he will be afraid of asking the question, afraid of producing something that he would like to say. Many challenges. But in that case, because the one thing when we use the method is, as a teacher, we cannot use a one-size-fit-all method, right? Is one-size-fit-all method is not very appropriate, because in a classroom there are students who comes from different backgrounds, different, how can I say, the knowledge and also experience. That's why in a classroom, you cannot use the only single method. You need to use like the elected method. In your teaching, you will use most of your time by using the target language, and sometimes you need to use the native language in order to participate all of the students, right? Based on their different learning styles of their students. So in order to fit the learning styles of the students, some students are interested in like viewing the movies, some enjoying the drawing pictures, and also some would like to present their activity by using like the story or grammar or the poem or something like that. That's why these are the different learner styles. That's why we can use like the pictures and also the objects. The other thing is that you can also use the real, right? The real materials in order to introduce the new words and the new concept for the student, right? These kind of the materials, and also in generally you can use the audio visual materials in order to introduce the new words. You can use the picture card, right? The picture cards and also the posters. The other thing is that you can also use, how can I say, the model or the dialogue in order to introduce the student related to the certain dialogue or certain situation. You got it?
Yeah, thank you. Like, can I get a follow-up question from your discussion?
Yeah, go, yeah.
Good. Yeah, the first question will be like, because like I know like the English will be your second language, will be your third language, I don't know.
Yeah.
The language will not know your mother tongue, I know. But so my question will be like, how was the second language acquisitions, and what was your method? I mean, like nature methods. Are you using, like, you have been using the nature method along with the like second language acquisition, or like how would you challenge the can to be include you like in order to just speak English? And then my second question would be like, what was the higher level recommendations? What would be like the higher recommendations in the like grammar page approach, and then in order to like be beside the nature methods, like affiliate the language acquisition, which is I mentioned before, like the second language acquisitions, because like there will be so much challenge to implement in order to be the other language, for example, like the German, the Chinese, the English, the Burmese, because like I just in inclusion, like I want to act like in the nature method in language education, what would be like taught, belief, your recommendation? What would be your thoughts, belief, and your recommendation? What would you want to say in this light? Because you mentioned second for foreign language, champion, core, the instinctive, like so many things like that will be like when we like in a mention with theory, that will be so hard to understand because it's like in the classroom. But my question will be like the thought, the recommendations, what you believe, how we like language learning ability to be for learner, uh, um, uh, we call it leverage typically. Yeah.
Yeah. The talk my belief is that because I'm there, English is it's a foreign language. It's not my mother tongue. I have used so many ways. As a first, at the very beginning, we have we have been experienced by the grammar translation method. Actually, as in today's school, I learned the meanings, then bilingual dictionary by the translation meanings, right? And also from that, I practice by myself, and also I got exposure from the language training. And mostly, only I spent only a few, how can I say, a few time in the language training, and then I practice by myself and also by my, how can I say, friends, and also I also learned the methods or language, and also from my teachers by attending the university, from the other outside trainings, language training, right? For the what Champion calls the Institute of an Aryan Language Sense. Yes, he said that we all possess imperial degree in the mother tongue. That's why the reason is that this is also related to your language enrichment. Because, for example, if you are very enriched in your mother tongue, it is also very good to learn another language. You can learn another language very easily. But there are also lots of variation in the mother tongue. Some students have only, a little knowledge related to the mother tongue, but some students have lots of knowledge, like literature knowledge, and also listening, speaking, something like that. A lot of knowledge. That's why here championship resting at the bottom of the direct association between experience and expression. Experience and expression. Because if you, in order here, what I understand here, the experience and expression is that, as I mentioned before, in order to introduce the new words, you can use the objects, or you can ask the student to use directly, instantly, after the teacher. And also what you want to say, the teacher will guide the student to express, and also for the experience. Right, experience is what I understand is we need to create a little situations. For example, like you are in a restaurant situation, we can create such kind of situation. Here, the teacher will model some dialogues that you can use at the restaurant. So in this way, the student can learn instantly and learn directly the new words and concepts and the expression by experiencing directly, right? As for your second question, the next question for the grammar, how highly I recommend for the grammar. Actually, for the learners who first learn the language, grammar should not be the focus. Right? The oral practice should be the first one. They should practice to get fluency in the oral practice. And the grammar should follow later. Because if you start teaching the language by focusing on the grammar, when the student produces the language, he will think about the grammatical rules in order to make a sentence. Yeah, I have also experienced this kind. This kind of, how can I say, difficulties. Previously, if I want to say something, I think grammatically in my mind, and also I'm produce. But later, by learning one after another, and also from time to time, how can I say, I can get mature, and also the experience. Yeah. I'm also teaching on so many levels of the student. I also teaching the job English to other students, and also the other student for the other examination. Right? I need to change my method based on the learners. For example, for the job English student, I need to use the direct method, and also even though I see the direct method also has the translation, the expression, right? And also the other thing is I also use the pattern-based speaking. For example, I will model one sentence for the student, and also they follow after me, they repeat after me. And the other thing is I ask them to substitute the new words for the blanks, and also to make many more sentences. Right? You got it?
Yeah, I got it. Like, I will something to add from the discussion, because you mentioned a lot the methods, the language acquisitions.
Yeah.
Because like before we learned the grammar, we had to know like oral speaking. But I think like between the oral speaking and grammar, this is missing one thing, because there's a universal grammar that's really important. That I know, because like language universals, principles, the language acquisition device. Because we should not be as in like the AI, the A's, but should we like oral speaking or should we like grammatical? Because like there's a critical previous hypothesis. What I want to mention like this universal grammar, because like when you mention like champion core, this is like really big and clear. Because like just think yourself like champion core, what do you want to mean? Is it like unclear referred to in this context? Because like according to acquisition method in natural language, that's like instanted, because it should be like specific tense concepts.
Yeah.
What I want to say that like, but I'm not like I'm totally agree back. But we had to know like oral speaking grammar. There is a universal grammar. You I said like right now, right in the days, like you had to speak. Do you really want to speak? You were speaking English forever, like, but we had the mobile device. We got internet stuff. We can travel around the world. That's like we had to know like it's not under the like any acquisition theories.
Yeah.
In the context of language, because like human like biological predisposed.
Yeah.
But whatever like I think like I'm discussed the most, because like I was still discussing here. And thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The biological predisposed. I also agree with you to some extent, right? But the other thing is that we need to give some exposure to the student, because in some people I found that if the people are instinctively, how can I say, knowing the things, how can I say, they don't even need a teacher, but they need teacher who can guide them, who can expand their knowledge in order to reach a higher level, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you for your discussion.
Thank you. Like it's a really depend on circumstance.
Yeah.
Like at your classrooms, normal classroom, whatever. Like we do agree. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, here the next one is also the basis from the lesson Freeman, right, concerning the meaning of word, gesture, and language achievement related to the picture, which you can think, have a clear memory. You seem to be able to see it. That's why we can use the realia and also the objects and lots of teaching aids when we use the direct method, so that the knowledge will retain in the learner's mind for a long time. And the other thing is, we also need to give the student the, how can I say, inputs, like by listening, listening inputs, so that the student can produce really well, and also speaking a good way with the best action. This is from the Rebus comments. So here, that's why the main role of the teacher is to use lots of activities because the student is these are related to the student fluency and also upon the interaction between the teacher and the student and the learner and the learner. But the other thing is that the student role is less passive. That's why, because they do not take the grammar translation method. So when they want to, say something, they can say instantly instead of thinking their grammatical structure, instead of thinking whether my grammar is right or wrong. So that's why the student also can produce and also their role is less passive compared to the grammar translation method. And also, Larsen Freeman also said that, right? The other thing is to be able to express the speech, right? To do the error speaking by using the logs of activities, by using the target language. So, in order to summarize this slide, we can use the lots of pictures and also objects. You can use the gestures. In this way, the student will get the language achievement. And also, we also need to give the lots of inputs, language inputs. Here, the student also need to give the correct pronunciation. If he mutters the incorrect pronunciation, the student will imitate the incorrect ones. These are the aims of the direct method. Now, let's see there's some characteristics of the direct method. Here, the teaching of grammar, right, is inducted. For the grammar translation method, you need to learn the specific grammatical rules. But for the direct method, grammar is taught inductively. The student firstly learn to be fluent in the oral practice and to get the oral fluency. The grammar follow later. And the spoken language. The question answer session is also really important in when you use the direct method. Only when the student, motivate the student by asking the question, the student will respond. If you do not ask the question, they will not respond. And also, we also need to give the concepts of the vocabulary, and also we need to use the lots of visual materials. That's why here you will also see the 1 to 7, the characteristics of the direct method. Translation is diminished from the classroom. And grammar is taught inductively to oral teaching. Oral teaching is the mainly focus in any form of reading and writing. Precise. Oral teaching comes first. Next one is in the direct method, we use the connected text. For the grammar translation method, you will translate the different sentences. They are disconnected. But for the direct method, we use the connected text. Like as I mentioned before, you will learn there's some dialogues related to a certain situation, related to a certain activity. That's why pronunciation is also very important. Teacher also need to use the phonetics and phonology of the target language. Here, the number 6, right? We need to teach the student the words and the sentences in a natural context by means of objects and natural context, so that the student can relate the new knowledge, what they learn, to the natural context. So vocabulary and structure of the language are inculcated to a larger extent by teacher and answer by the student. The teacher start first, and then student respond to the teacher's question. Like that. These are the some characteristics of the direct method. So grammar teaching is the inductive approach. You need to use the lots of teaching aids. The oral teachings come first. We need to use the connected text. Okay, next one. So when we compare the first language learner, right? For the first language learner, before knowledge of the target language, there is no concept of another language. Like, for example, I'm in Myanmar, or I'm learning the Myanmar as a first language learner for the Myanmar language. That's why, so at the beginning, I don't have the concept of another language. So here, the mother tongue is not the same, and it's immature related to the nervous system. So he starts learning the mother tongue. That's why not quite mature. The target language ought to know the facts. For the first language learner, he does not know the things in name. Here you will see there's some grammatical mistake because even in the original article, there are some mistake. So high frequency to influence the things for the turn of the mother voice. This is the activities and the features of the first language learner. But for the second language learner, for me, English is second language for me. So before the learning another language, I have the concept of the mother tongue, right? So because I already have the concept of the mother tongue, I become the mature to some extent in order to relate to the nervous system. That's why when the teacher use the objects in order to introduce new words, I can connect with my mother tongue knowledge, even though I do not translate. And the other thing is that they also can know the things and facts for the tongue of the mother. So he knows all the things, the names of all the things. This also depends on the enrichment of the background, because some students come from the environment which is not very enriched for the language resources, but some students come from the language enriched resources. For those students who come from the enriched environment, they will not have much difficulty when they learn another language. But for other students, they have lots of challenges. So here are some techniques of the direct method. You can use the reading aloud so that the people can hear you, right? Your student will hear you. Also, question association are also very useful for the direct method. You can also use the dictation and also student self-correction, because, for example, firstly, the teacher produce one sentence, and then the student will repeat after the teacher, or student will produce the sentence. So by imitating and by listening attentively to the teacher, the student makes the self-correction. And the other thing is that you can also use the oral communication. The other concept for the student self-correction is you can ask the student, for example, in a sentence, student will make, the mistake in the place of verb or in the place of noun. Here, you can ask the student the question in order to make self-correction by themselves. So, the other thing is the false key also can be used when you're using the direct method. The language skill, not the false skill, the reading, speaking, and listening skill, right? Mainly the oral practice and oral fluency. That's why speaking and listening skill. There are also the reading skill to some extent that you can use when you use the direct method. That's why the role of the teacher is very important. He need to give the proper pronunciation, the proper model practice, because student will imitate you. And dictation is also very good method, and also asking the student to make self-correction with the help of the teacher is also useful. Some principles of the direct method: you can introduce the new teaching points orally, right? Taught the sentence and vocabularies or every day, because Now, the everyday vocabularies and everyday knowledge, sentences related to the everyday life, you can teach these kind of sentences, everyday vocabulary words. So the spoken language is mainly focused in the direct method. The grammar and pronunciation should be correct. Even though the teacher does not teach grammar specifically, he used the inductive approach, inductive grammar. And also orally skills of communication, mainly the purpose is for the communication. Another principle is the oral training, because this mainly focus on the value of oral training once you use the direct method. That's why you need to give the student the sufficient practice to listen to the language. And also after listening, they need to practice or repeat. So when you use the language, the audio scripts are also very useful. I also use the audio scripts. Firstly, I ask the student to listen the audios, and also I ask them, I deliver them the audio scripts. That's why they can match with their listening and also the audio scripts. And then they practice based on the audio scripts. This kind of like the imitation. And then they can replace related to their real life situation. The phonetics also play an important role when you use the direct method. That's why the teacher need to hear the intelligible pronunciation. So the oral training gives the direct association between the words of the foreign language and the ideas for which they stand. So the first principle is the oral training. Next one is interpretation of the mother tongue. Because if you use the direct method, we need to, lower the role of the mother tongue. That's why the student will think, instinctively in Myanmar, you need to think in English. We often say, right? Instead of translating into thinking in Myanmar and also produces in English, you need to think directly into English. So this also needs, time and practice to lower the role of the mother tongue when you use the direct method. So you can use the objects and also suitable illustration related include in the context. That's why students can think in English, respond directly in English. So, in order to be mature, in order to produce this kind of proficiency, we need to create environment which is enriched in the foreign language context or in the target language context, right? Students need to hear the words in English. Students need to see the objects written in English. That's why we need to give lots of practice. And also teacher needs to put lots of effort. Next one, right? The sentence is the unit of speech. You start with the sentence pattern rather than the individual words, right? If you start with the pad, I also agree with this sentence to some extent. But firstly, I think because for the second language learner, we need to start from the words level by using the objects and also by making the illustration. But after that, we can move into the sentence level, sentence pattern. We can ask the student to substitute words or verbs and other things. That's why after that, the student can internalize the structure of the target language. One important thing is we need to introduce the student selectively and also by grace, because for the young student, we can introduce the vocabulary which are related to their age and to their activities. But for the higher level student, we need to we can give them the advanced words. That's why the students are taught through the material association, explanation, and use in the suitable context. Actually, teacher needs to create lots of context in order to introduce certain dialogues and also the conversation. Next one, the inductive teaching of grammar. Because grammar is not taught for its own sake. Because in the grammar translation method, the teacher encourages students to use grammar creatively. But here, grammar is used to be able to produce, to make lots of, oral practice. That's why the student can make the correct sentences in his speech and writing. So we need to teach the grammar inductively. And also, the amount of exposure to the language enables the student, right, to form his own hypothesis and rules of the language. That's why we need to give lots of language inputs. Based on those inputs, students will hypothesize and also will learn the rules of grammar by themselves. That's why inductive teaching of grammar is also useful when you use the direct method. Now let's see the advantages of using the direct method. Right? The thing is, because we are teaching the foreign language as we learn the mother tongue. That's by using the demonstration and composition in context. So pupils acquire fluency in speech. They don't need to be afraid of making the grammatical mistake. That's why we need to encourage the student to produce a lot. And also they need to converse in English, right? Without difficult organizing, without challenges. Next one, no gap between active and passive vocabulary. Here, when you use the grammar translation method, there are some gaps between the vocabularies because firstly, after learning the new words, you mentalize in your head, and also you produce in English or in another language. But for the direct method, after learning the new words, you need to use instantly in sentence. You need to produce it instantly instead of keeping in your mind. That's why no gap between active and passive vocabulary. And also, it's also based on the strong principles of education because it introduced the particular before general and also concrete before abstract and practice before theory because students learn first by with the help of the objects, with the help of the demonstration. That's why concrete before abstract and practice before theory. And some advantages are also include the power of the gestures and expression, and also involve all the people engaged in an activity. Here, the teacher need to motivate the student to participate in the activity each and everywhere. But it is also not free from defects because the direct method does not take into all aspects of the language teaching. Here, the scholar said that the best thing about this method is the links the foreign word with the idea that it represents, because that's why he also called the direct principle. Because we cannot give the student what they need in their life. We can give only the student the words, the vocabulary words selectively. That's why it represents only what they see. That's why they need to do lots of extensive learning to be fluent in the foreign language. Next one, not comprehensive. As we know, there are four skills when we learn the language in generally. The direct method mainly focuses on speaking and listening, but not on reading and writing. That's why we cannot say it is a comprehensive technique when we use the direct method. And some other disadvantages also include the ignorance of the systematic written work. The other thing is it is sometimes difficult to get the teaching aids, what we want to teach in the classroom. So it is very costly. And the next thing is some comparison between the direct method and the grammar translation method. Right? The direct method avoids the close association between the second and foreign language and the mother tongue. Actually, it mainly focuses on speech, the natural way of learning, like he learns the mother tongue. So, direct method goes by use, not by rule. That's why using and practicing is really important when you use the direct method when you teach a foreign language. And also, it does not also encourage the formal grammar at the early age. But for the grammar translation method, it has a relationship between the foreign language and the native language. It also lays emphasis on speech, like the structures and parts of speech, and teaches the grammar by rule, the language by rule, not by use. So teaches formal grammar from the very beginning. These are some differences between the grammar translation method and the direct method. So when you use the direct method, when you teach the foreign language, the guidelines are that you should not speak very fast and also as well as very slowly, not speak very loudly, right? Never irritated. We need to be patient because students are learning the language directly from the teacher. They are being encouraged to produce directly. That's why our teachers should be patient. And also, no use of the books. These are some guidelines, right? I also agree, to some extent, not totally, because we also need the course books and sometimes textbooks. Never speak the only single word. So by modeling as a teacher, we need to produce the full sentence by using words. So all teaching is done in the target language. Grammar is taught inductively, mainly focused on speaking and listening. And also the everyday language expressions and everyday expressions and phrases are used and also need to be used when you teach the direct method. Here the last sentence is that the weakness is that because the condition is different. When we learn the foreign language by using the direct method, when we compare the learning situation, when we learn the mother tongue, that's why condition is different. We need to adapt our teaching related to the student and also the classroom environment. So some examples of using the direct methods is that you can introduce the new vocabulary by using the real materials, visual aids, and demonstration. So when you see the textbook, you will see some how can I say, writing the textbook by mixing the methods. Right? They may be based on the communicative approach, and also they are also encouraging the student to speak a lot by giving lots of speaking activities. In conclusion, it's very believable, right? In order to give the opportunity for the student to talk a lot. So to create an environment of best communication, it's really important to help students engage on a particular activity. Right? That's why the teacher should know the use of the direct method, and also there's a positive response to affect the student's language. Direct method is effective to use English language by teacher to implement in the classroom. But in this slide, there are some grammatical mistakes. So this is the conclusion. So tonight's lecture is under the program methodology. Mainly, we go into detail for the direct method. In the very previous lecture, you have already learned the grammar translation method. This is the second method, which was developed against the grammar translation method. Actually, the new methods appear again and again because of the needs of the age and also needs of the time, needs of the people. That's why once you teach the language, I don't mean you can use only the one method. We need to use the selectively and electively, right? Once you teach a language. That's why some scholars encourage to use the eclectic method, or like you can choose the good things from another method, the good points from another method by mixing those activities and also idea you can teach the student. Hello, can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I think you will get some, new knowledge, and some may be familiar to you. And then, please go ahead. I saw some person raising hand.
Hello, teacher.
Yeah.
Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, I want to ask some questions.
Yes.
And my question is not concerned with your lecture time. So can I ask you in your private chat?
Yes.
In Telegram?
Telegram, yeah, you can ask me. Yeah.
Yes, I will do it later. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Do you want to discuss more? You can discuss or you can contribute if you want.
Sir, your Telegram account is battery full, am I right?
I mean, you can ask from the home office, right? Yeah. I mean, MMH. Hello. Teacher MMH, I think.
Sir, if you don't mind, can I ask you in this time?
Yeah, here at this time here in the private chat, you can also ask me here in the Zoom chat, right?
Yes, I'm really confused with the two sentences. Oh, I'm not good at speaking in English very well, so I apologize ahead. Can I ask you in Burmese?
Yeah, you can ask me in Burmese, yeah.
ဆရာစာအကြောင်းနှစ်ကြောင်းကလေဟို My ambition ရေးလိုက်တဲ့အချိန်မှာလေကလေးတယောက်ရေးထားတဲ့ဥစ္စာကသူရေးချင်တာက I hope I will be a good starter one day အဲ့လိုရေးထားတယ်နောက်တယောက်ကကြာတော့အဲ့လိုမျိုးပဲပေါ့နော်နောက်တစ်ခုကကြာတော့ I hope I will be a good starter one day I will be a good starter one day I hope so လို့ရေးထားတာအဲ့မှတည်းကမမေးချင်တာကလေအဲ့ sentence နှစ်ခုမှာလေမှားတယ်လို့ပြောလို့ရသလား
I will be a good doctor one day. Go right. မားတယ်လို့တော့ပြောလို့မရဘူး။နောက်မှတော့ဥမာပြောပြလို့ပါ I think I will be ပဒန်နဲ့ရေးတာမျိုးသုံးတာမျိုးတွေရှိတယ်လေ။တော့နောက်မှတော့နောက်က I hope so လို့ထည့်ထားတယ်။နော်ဒါပေမဲ့တခုရှိတာ written မှာဆိုရင်တော့ဒါ written for formal written တော့မဟုတ်ဘူးပေါ့။သူကဒါ spoken pattern ကြီးဖြစ်နေတာပေါ့။အဲ့လိုမျိုးတော့ရှိတာပေါ့။
ဟုတ်ကဲ့
အရှိရဥစ္စာ I will be a good doctor one day ရတော့ကိစ္စမရှိဘူး I hope so ကကြတော့နဲ့တော့ informal ဖြစ်သွားတာပေါ့အဲ့လိုမျိုးတော့ရှိတာ
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ရှင်ဟုတ်အဲ့ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အေးအပေါ်ကစာကြောင်းအပေါ်ပါရေးလိုက်တဲ့ I think I will be a good starter one day ကကြတော့ပို့ပြီးတော့ formal ဖြစ်တာပေါ့ဆရာဟုတ်လား
ဟုတ်တယ်အဲ့ဒါ formal ဟိုနေသုံးလို့ရပါတယ် I think I will be a good doctor one day ဟုတ်ဒါမှဟိုနေ essay မှာလား
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ခုနကတော့ I hope so ဆိုတဲ့စာကြောင်းကကြာလေသူ့ကိုအဲ့လိုလုံးမှားတယ်လို့ဆရာဟိုပြောလို့တော့မရဘူးလား
ဟိုတခုရှိတာကသူကဟုတ်ကဲ့ဟိုနေ essay ရေးတဲ့နေရာမှာလား
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ရှင်ဟုတ်
essay မှာဆိုရင်တော့ I hope so ကြီးကိုကြတော့ဒီ essay မှာကြတော့သူက formal တော့မဟုတ်ဘူး informal ဖြစ်သွားတာပေါ့အဲ့လိုမျိုးဖြစ်သွားတာဥမာဒီ informal ဆိုတော့ဘာလို့ informal email တွေပါဟာလာ writing တွေမှာဆိုရင်တော့သုံးလို့ရတယ်ဒီလိုမျိုး academic essay မှာဆိုရင်တော့အဲ့လိုမျိုး I hope so တို့ဘာလို့ကသုံးလို့တော့တိတ်အဆင်မပြေဘူးအဲ့လိုတော့ရှိတာ
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ရှင်ဟုတ်ရှင်းတော့ပါရှင်းနားလေပါဆရာကျေးဇူးရတင်ပါတယ်နော်ဆရာ
ကျေးဇူးပါ
ဒီကပါ
โอเคအားလုံး good night ပါเนาะ
Good night teacher thank you so much
good night thank you